Hey guys, welcome back to Honkai TL. In today's video, we're going to go through the Pridewin tier list, talking about Acheron and also Aventurine upcoming, and my thoughts on Acheron. I've been away for about 4 days, had a bit of a play with her while I was away, and now that I'm back, I just want to get, I'm just super keen to just have a chat about Acheron and look at her on the tier list and reasonings for placements and stuff like that, so let's get into it. Now, before we go any further, guys, I have to address this message that I got sent. It says, "Hi, we've got a brilliant idea for the Marvel Strike Force 6th anniversary. We want to host an award ceremony in honor of some of the game's characters. So we need your help in choosing the winners." So let's give a massive shout out to Marvel Strike Force for sponsoring this video. And if you don't know what the game is, if you're a fan of Marvel and you want to build your own teams using iconic Marvel characters to save the universe against characters like Doctor Doom and Apocalypse, then this is the game for you. Now, they've asked me to go ahead and give some nominations for some different categories of characters in the games, so let's get into it. Now, the first nomination we have is for the most iconic outfit, and for this one, I had to go with Deadpool. For my nomination on the most intriguing backstory, I had to choose Val, the last Asgardian of a defeated universe. This one just really struck me. For the most powerful antagonist, I had to go ahead and choose Apocalypse. The dude is just a beast. As for the ultimate team player award, this one I had to put this character somewhere, so this is the award they fell into for my nominations, and that is going to be Gwenom, because I just absolutely love this character. And finally, for the most supporting character award, I'm nominating Spider-Man big time. So let me know if you agree with my nominations or if you would choose somebody else. Now, what are you waiting for? Just by logging in, you'll receive generous gifts containing character shards, an anniversary diamond orb, gear, and other great items. Take part in the 2,190 days of Marvel Strike Force event, completing milestones to get yourself some amazing rewards, including gold, training items, and a costume for Nick Fury. But that's not all. Download Marvel Strike Force today and enter the promo code MSF6 and you'll receive some great rewards, including 310 Deadpool shards, 500 power cores, and 5 premium orbs if you are a new user. However, if you are an existing user, you'll be able to enter the promo code NIGHT to receive 15 Nightcrawler shards, 500 power cores, and 5 premium orbs. And once again, a massive shout out to Marvel Strike Force for sponsoring this video, and don't forget to download with the links in the description below. Alright, so before we talk about anything on the tier list, can I just say, and let me know your guys' thoughts in the comments, and let me know if this is pure stupidity and just because I'm a weird unit and I like strange things, but I feel like if you don't have Acheron, you're simply playing the game wrong. Not because she's super OP, because she destroys everything and because she has the goddess tier of animations, but because Overworld just became fun again. I never care for, I had not, since patch 2.0, I had never gone around and tried to kill enemies. I skipped, I still haven't even done the chests. As soon as I got Acheron, dude, that stuff becomes fun. You just load up on the potions or the candies or whatever they are that give you the points, and you just go around techniquing everything. And it's like a whole new level of fun to the game. And to me, with games, especially because I'm always free to play, so obviously I like to rush games at the start, get through content, and then after that, I just like to have fun. And honestly, that gives me a sense of fun that's unbelievable. It's actually made me start re-rolling for a new account. I've been trying to get Acheron in early 10 pulls because I want to get an Acheron account and I want to just play through the game from a new player's experience with Acheron, where you just tap everything. I feel like your progression through the game can be so streamlined. I don't know, maybe it's copium, but I just think a new account with Acheron, I don't think there would be a funner experience in Honkai TL. And honestly, I just think Acheron on any account is fantastic for that. Don't give a shit if you got a Lycone. Don't care about any of that. Just Acheron, techniquing. It's cool. It's fun. Let me know if that's copium. Let me know if I'm an idiot. But anyway, let's talk about Acheron and her positionings on the tier list, and then we'll jump in and talk about my thoughts around Aventurine, but obviously we'll have to expand those as we go. So, Memory of Chaos, S+ tier. In my opinion, she is the top of S+ tier. Now, I can't gauge this perfectly because I don't have, all my accounts are free to play. I have her only on my main. I haven't got her yet. I'm still doing summons on my alt to get her. But on my main, I do have the Signature Lycone. she hits like a truck, even though I don't have her properly built. But from what I've been seeing from people using non-signature light cone, I just don't have the resources to build up other light cones to test with. It's just free to play life. You guys know how it is. She still looks like she hits some really solid damage. I just think she is, and Pridewin, if you want to read their reasoning for where she's on S+, they talk about how she's like kind of better, but then her light cone sort of drags her up a lot and stuff like that. But when you're looking at her, even from free to play, I think she is probably the best unit in the game now, in my opinion. And once again, that could be heavily influenced by my enjoyment in the overworld with her and how bloody cool her animations are. But I just think she hits super hard. She's useful in just about any situation, and she's just crazy. Is essentially, she's just crazy. Imbibitor and Jingliu both still obviously fantastic. I personally prefer Jingliu. Imbibitor Abby obviously had a lot of his problems fixed, but if you don't have, like, I feel like Imbibitor without Sparkle still feels a bit meh, but not meh, like just not in Jingliu Acheron territory. Jingliu is just super safe to me. She's just super easy all the time, doesn't matter. But yeah, Acheron definitely feels like the top of the S+, and like I said, I like, yes, her signature cone is super fantastic, but she hits big numbers anyway, and you do have free-to-play accessible teams. Like, if I see a lot of people running her with double nihility and a harmony, and that's crazy. But I think a lot of people still want to run her with the sustain. And you know, when you look at like even Fire Trailblazer, he's got the taunt, and then you put the burn cone on, he's guaranteed to get hit and apply those burns, plus his taunt counts as one, and he's going to get them. Now, he's not the best sustain, especially for a new account, but basically any preservation, you put burn cone on and you're good. And if you don't have any of them, then you can go ahead and use Gallagher, and you can get that synergy where you get debuff application as well. And I want to talk about Gallagher as well quickly. So I just think she's, and like everyone has Pella, and Gallagher's on her banner as like a last ditch effort if you have no other options. So I feel like she's pretty safe. And then outside of that, you can just run a harmony on it. Now you can run another nihility as well, but I think just running like an extra harmony on her is going to be perfectly fine with the Pella and then the sustain you choose. Yes, you lose out a bit on the benefit of the extra bonus damage for 2 nihility, but I still think she's perfectly fine, and she still functions well, even as free to play. And I think she's one of those characters where I think every account wants her, because once again, overworld, OP, just ridiculous. Anyway, let's jump into pure fiction. So she falls into the destruction cleave tier, is what I like to call it. When I look at damage dealers in pure fiction, it's literally this simple for me. You have Herder tier. I don't think they can ever, like, so Herder is one that I think will infinitely stay S+ in pure fiction, and I don't see a way they're going to change pure fiction to make Herder not be S+. She works with any buff. It doesn't matter the buff, because you've got lots of squishy enemies who are always going to get hit to a point. Now, who the best teammate for Herder is going to fluctuate depending on the buff and stuff like that. But Herder always does what she does, regardless of anything else that happens in pure fiction. So you have the Herder tier. Then we have the AoE possible S+ tier. These are the AoE units that can shift up depending on buffs as well. So, you know, like Argenti, if you got a buff where he can one-shot everything with his weak ult, or if you just got him absolutely cracked, mine's on my ult account isn't cracked enough, you know, then he can go up. But generally, though, that's the AoE tier. So you got Herder tier, AoE tier, then you got Destruction Cleave tier. When I say Destruction Cleave, it's because most Destruction units have that big damage primary target, small damage adjacent targets. And that's pretty much what this tier is. We've got Acheron. Now, Acheron's a little bit different, but she has that such heavy loaded targeted damage, where they even say it in their placement log that she just like has overkill potential, and she doesn't let her damage go to full use against the AoE mobs. Then you got Blade, cleave damage, Clark, cleave damage, Jingliu, cleave damage, Zilla damage, obviously it's a bit different, but Serval kind of falls into the AoE tier, but her skill is that cleave damage, but her ultimate is full AoE, but she doesn't have the damage capacity, and depending on the buff, she can get really good, because she can have that super fast energy regeneration. So if we have ult based buffs, she becomes better. I built Serval just because I loved Serval from the beta of the game, and I think she's a cool unit, but her raw damage output doesn't quite match the AoE tier that we have up here, and then she's there. So that's Acheron, I think, falls safely into that destruction cleave tier for Pure Fiction. But having said that, I still think picking up an Acheron is not a bad thing. Just because she's in A tier in Pure Fiction doesn't mean she's bad. She is still perfectly good. On my ult again, I always run Jingliu on one side because I have Jingliu and it's perfectly fine. So I think Acheron in general, once again, summing up Acheron in general, funnest character in the game to date, coolest animations in the game to date, and just absolutely cracked. So I think she is just honestly the best character to have. If you haven't got her, reconsider it, because just, dude, killing shit in the overworld, I don't know why it got so fun for me and made me want to reroll accounts, but it did. And that's where we are. So let's move on and let's talk about, quickly, let's look at Gallagher. So basically Gallagher, they basically eye out that he does have niche fits where he works really well, but as a general healer, he lacks that burst healing that something like a Lynx can provide, and that's why he's not quite up there with the Lynx. I still think he's a fantastic unit depending on the team. Plus, he looks way cooler than Lynx. His ult is cool. Like, everything about Gallagher is cool. So if we want to add the coolness factor, I think he just goes up into that A tier. I feel like it would be cool. But you know, that's where he is. I still think he's a pretty decent free-to-play healer if you get him. I still think he's a fantastic free-to-play healer. Over here, once again, he does have the damage on the ult, but I just don't think it's enough to compensate for it. I don't know. I feel like him... I feel like Bailu's a unique situation with the res, but if you don't need sustain, I feel like he falls higher than the rest of these units because he does have the extra damage, and depending on the buff, maybe that can get some extra effect out of it. But yeah, that is Gallagher there. But now I wanted to quickly talk about Aventurine and where I think he's going to fall. So I think Aventurine, obviously, we know he has debuff application. We got to wait and see his entire kit. If he has extra supportive factors like buffing capabilities and stuff in his traces, well, that'll be crazy. But at the moment, based on what we know, he does have the debuff application and he is a tank. So when we look at Acheron teams, now, like I said, I've seen a lot of people using Double Nihility and Harmony with Acheron, which is perfectly fine. But if you are running a sustain, which I want to say most people are, then I feel like Aventurine could be like one of the best preservations to run with her. Maybe Fu Xuan just pulls it out, just depending on the situation for what she offers. But I think Aventurine definitely up there for extra debuff application. Plus, obviously, you can put the burn light cone on him, get those extra applications, and he's just the highest application sustain unit I think that you can get when you take into account that he's preservation and he gets the burn light cone. So I think he's going to be up there. Also, we have the follow-up attack, which, you know, applies when we look at Topaz and Numby and follow-up teams. I think he's definitely going to be there. And as we get different teams that lean into the woods, like follow-ups, for instance, I think he's going to climb as well. And it's just going to depend. But I think in general, in MOC, I anticipate, obviously he's going to be S or S+. I think in the specific teams he works, he'll be S+, but I think universally, I think Fu Xuan will be will still have him universally. So I'm curious to see where they put him, but that's my thoughts. Specific teams, S+, universally, maybe S. So we'll have to wait and see. As for Pure Fiction, I feel like he's going to be like Locha tier. Because he does have that extra damage. It also depends how much damage output he can do. If he has decent damage throughput where he can actually affect the damage that you're getting on those ads, then maybe he goes up. I mean, if you build a crit damage Locha, yeah, I mean, you can do stuff as well. So I'm curious to see where they balance him out versus Locha, because they're kind of similar in that they do have AoE capabilities. And they both have to sustain. So I'm not too sure. This one, and honestly, I really don't care. Like, Pure Fiction, it doesn't really matter. But yeah, that's my thoughts around Aventurine. I think he's going to be good. I think he's going to be very good in the right teams, but I think he's going to be good in general. And like I said, S+ in certain teams, S in others. Pure Fiction is probably going to fall into that Locha tier, and that's probably where it's going to be. But that is pretty much all my thoughts around the characters and the tier list in... What are we in? 2.1? Dude. Honestly, I get so confused with myself between all the leaks and stuff that we have that I never know what patch we're actually in, even though I'm playing it. But that is it for my thoughts. Like I said, Acheron, dude, overworld, it's a new fun part of the game to me. I can't help it. As always, guys, thanks for watching. Hope you have an awesome day, and I look forward to seeing the next one. Cheers.